Welcome to what has become our regular weekly time of reflection and worship with friends from Addlestone Salvation Army. I want to thank all those who have taken part in today's production. And today we're looking at the final resurrection appearance of Jesus.
After breakfast, Jesus asked Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" "Yes, Lord," Peter replied. "You know I love you." "Then feed my lambs," Jesus told him. Jesus repeated the question, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" "Yes, Lord," Peter said. "You know I love you." "Then take care of my sheep," Jesus said. A third time he was asked, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was hurt that Jesus asked the question a third time. He said, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." So Jesus said, "Then feed my sheep."
So, Jesus is sitting with the disciples once again, sharing bread with them, offering hospitality, serving them, and still loving them. He looks at Simon Peter. Now, Simon, of course, his original name, and Peter, the new name Jesus gave him. He looks at Simon Peter and says, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" Jesus uses Simon's full name and title, Simon, son of John. Now, in my experience, full names are used in one of two ways. The first is when we're in trouble, and maybe Simon Peter thinks he is in trouble here when Jesus looks at him and uses his full name. But a full name is also used when we're about to make a covenant commitment or a vow, when an important contract is about to be formed. When we get married, for example, our vows are made using our full name. Perhaps in this story, by using the full name Simon, son of John, Peter is not in trouble, but is about to be commissioned for something really important. Peter has nothing to fear, for Jesus is restoring him. To understand what's happening here, we need to remember that, in Greek, there are several different words for love. In this passage, two different words are used. One is agape, which indicates the love of a deep fellowship, a complete union, the deepest and most profound type of love there is. The second is philo, which indicates brotherly love and a deep friendship. The word Jesus uses in his first question to Peter is agape. Do you love me with a total and utter commitment? Are we in absolute union together? And Peter replies, yes, Lord, you know I love you, using the word philo. Jesus, I love you. But to be honest, the way I betrayed you and ran away shows that I only love you like a brother, not as I should. Jesus looks at Peter and says, that's okay. Feed my sheep. Jesus is restoring him. Then in verse 16, Jesus uses agape again. Simon, son of John, do you love me? And maybe Jesus is thinking, Simon, aren't you the one who through the years has promised never to leave me? Aren't you the one who has always promised to live and to die for me? Are you saying that you don't have agape love for me? And Peter, again confronted by his own weakness and frailty, responds using philo. Jesus, you know I love you with a brotherly love. He is probably thinking, I'm sorry, Lord. I've tried and I have failed you. I do love you, I really do, but I can't live up to my own words. I know how I bragged about my loyalty. I know I thought that I was the best of the disciples, but at the end of the day, I can't live up to my own standards. And Jesus says to Peter, that's okay. Do the best you can. Feed my sheep. You see, Jesus is restoring him. And then a third time, Jesus asks Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me? But this time, Jesus uses the word philo. Simon, you say that you have brotherly love for me, but what kind of brother betrays his friend? What kind of brother denies even knowing him? What kind of brother runs away to save his own skin? Do you even have brotherly love for me? And we read in verse 17 that Peter was sad because he knew in his heart of hearts that he could not even claim to have brotherly love. Such was the depth of his sin and betrayal. So Peter replies, Lord, you know all things, and you know that I love you. And it is philo love which Peter uses again here. And each one of us, when we reflect on our own hearts, we stand with Peter at this moment. We look at Jesus and we sense him looking at us and we say, Lord, I want to love. I really, really want to do what is right. I want to serve you. My intentions are good, but honestly, I'm weak and frail, and I often get it so wrong. I let you down, I betray you, I run away, and my best is just nowhere near good enough. But please, Lord, know in my heart of hearts, despite my behaviour, that I really do love you to the best of my ability. The love I have for you is not what you deserve, but it is the best I can offer. And Jesus looks you in the eye, and he looks me in the eye, and today he says, that's okay. The best you have to offer is good enough for me. I love you. I forgive you. I want to be with you. Jesus is restoring us. And as Jesus restores us, he asks only one thing of us. Take care of my sheep. Taking care of and feeding his sheep is about loving one another, encouraging one another, forgiving one another, having compassion toward one another, showing kindness and tolerance and patience toward one another, sharing hospitality with one another, and leading the lost sheep toward the shepherd, toward the restorer. This is all Jesus asks of us. After all our sin and betrayal, after all our denying him in our thoughts and words and actions, after all our lack of faith, despite all the mess in our lives, Jesus meets with us today and says, it's okay. I still love you. If you want to make it better, just love one another as I have loved you. Jesus is restoring us. Now the conversation continues for a little longer. Then Jesus finally brings Simon Peter right back to the very beginning, right back to his original calling more than 3 years previously. And using the exact same words he used then, Jesus says to Peter, "Follow me." Follow me, that ultimate act of reconciliation and restoration. Jesus restores his children. Jesus restores us, and then gives us the immense privilege of following him. Loving and compassionate Jesus Christ, our love for you is not perfect, but your word reminds us that you accept the best we can offer. Though we have failed you, you never give up on us, and you long to restore us, your children, to that place of honor you have prepared for every one of us. Help us once again to receive the grace and mercy you offer each of us, and help us to obediently follow you. Amen.
join with us as we say the Lord's Prayer together.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
And forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us.
And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever.
Amen.
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 Amen.